If you go down on a woman, this happens. Psychology of female arousal. When most people think of oral sex, the focus is usually on physical stimulation. But psychology reveals something much deeper. Cunnilingus isn't only about pleasure, it's about emotional security, intimacy, and the brain chemistry that fuels attraction. She feels genuinely desired. When a man dedicates himself fully to her satisfaction, the message is loud and clear: you matter. For many women, oral sex is a powerful act of intimacy because it shows attention, care, and prioritization of her needs. This makes her feel not only wanted, but emotionally safe. Her brain releases bonding chemicals. The clitoris contains over 8,000 nerve endings, more than anywhere else in the human body. When stimulated, it triggers the release of dopamine, oxytocin, and endorphins. These chemicals don't just spark euphoria, they also strengthen emotional attachment to the partner. She reaches deeper orgasms. Research shows women are more likely to climax through oral sex than penetration alone. Because she doesn't feel pressure to perform, she can relax and fully surrender, making her orgasms longer, stronger, and more satisfying. She connects the act with intimacy. Cunnilingus is one of the most vulnerable experiences for women. When performed with genuine care and enthusiasm, it leaves a mental imprint. She remembers her partner as someone who connected deeply with her body and emotions. It boosts her self-confidence. When a man shows authentic appreciation for a woman's body, her sexual confidence rises. She feels beautiful, accepted, and powerful, which often translates into greater confidence beyond the bedroom too. She's more likely to give back. Sexual fulfillment is reciprocal. A woman who feels cherished is usually more affectionate, adventurous, and generous in return. Prioritizing her pleasure often leads to a stronger, more balanced bond. The bottom line: going down on a woman isn't just about technique, it's about psychology. It validates her, builds closeness, and ignites emotional safety. Done with care and presence, it becomes one of the strongest tools for lasting intimacy and unforgettable chemistry. The deeper psychology behind oral intimacy. To truly understand why oral sex carries such a strong impact on women, we need to dive into the science of arousal, attachment, and trust. Unlike men, whose arousal is often more visually triggered, women's arousal pathways are far more complex. Arousal for her is not just about physical touch. It's about how safe she feels, how connected she feels, and whether or not her partner prioritizes her. This is why cunnilingus has such a powerful psychological effect. It tells her subconscious mind, you are worth my time. You are worth my effort. Your pleasure is important, and when a woman feels that, her body responds in ways that go far beyond physical satisfaction. Why it feels different than penetration. Many men think penetration is the ultimate act of sex, but studies show otherwise. In fact, only about 18% of women regularly orgasm through penetration alone, according to research published in the Journal of Sex and Marital Therapy. The majority need clitoral stimulation, and oral sex provides this more effectively than almost any other act. But here's where it gets fascinating. It's not just about stimulation. It's about the psychological comfort it brings. She doesn't have to perform. She doesn't have to worry about pace or rhythm. She simply receives. This creates a space where her parasympathetic nervous system, the body's relaxation response, activates, allowing deeper arousal, greater lubrication, and stronger orgasms. In other words, cunnilingus is not just physical, it's neurological. The trust factor. Why vulnerability heightens intimacy? Think about it. Cunnilingus requires total vulnerability from her side. She allows her most intimate private part of her body to be the center of your focus. Psychologists describe this as a trust exercise in intimacy. When done with genuine care, it makes her feel seen and accepted in ways that nothing else can. But here's the catch. If done carelessly, rushed, or without true enthusiasm, it can backfire. Instead of making her feel special, it can make her feel exposed, insecure, or even used. This is why your mindset as a man matters just as much as your technique. How it shapes long-term relationships. Here's something most men don't realize. Women remember intimacy in emotional snapshots. A man might remember sex as a collection of physical experiences, but a woman often remembers it as how she felt. Did she feel desired? Did she feel beautiful? Did she feel safe? Oral sex plays directly into those memories. When you make her feel prioritized and cherished through it, she associates you with closeness, passion, and attentiveness. And this is where the psychological trap sets in, because once she links those feelings to you, she will crave that connection again and again. But here's the twist. Not every woman responds the same way. And sometimes what feels like intimacy for one woman can trigger insecurity in another. Why? Because it all comes down to her psychological wiring and past experiences. And this is where things get truly interesting. Why not every woman reacts the same way? At first glance, it may seem that all women love receiving oral sex. But the truth is far more nuanced. Psychology shows us that a woman's response depends heavily on her background, self-image, and emotional conditioning. Some women feel empowered and adored when their partner goes down on them. For them, it's the ultimate act of intimacy. But for others, it can stir up feelings of shame, self-consciousness, or even resistance. Why? Because the female mind often carries the weight of cultural conditioning. In some societies, women are taught that sexual pleasure is taboo or dirty. Others are raised with negative associations around their bodies, leading to insecurity, and some may carry trauma, which can make oral intimacy feel more invasive than loving. This is where a man's patience and emotional intelligence come into play. If he pushes too hard, she may shut down. But if he creates a safe, judgment-free space, she can open up and transform the experience into something healing and unforgettable. The confidence connection. When a woman embraces oral intimacy, something powerful often happens. Her sexual confidence grows. Think about it. If her partner willingly devotes time and focus to her most vulnerable area, and does it with genuine passion, she can't help but feel more secure about her body. This confidence doesn't just stay in the bedroom. It carries into her daily life. She walks with more pride. She speaks with more authority. She feels more attractive, more magnetic, more alive. Psychologists call this the spillover effect. Sexual confidence enhances overall confidence, and a woman who feels desired often becomes more ambitious, outgoing, and radiant in every part of her life. And here's the interesting part. She often connects that rise in confidence directly back to the man who gave it to her, which means the man who prioritizes her pleasure often leaves a mark on her identity itself. The reciprocity effect. Human behavior thrives on reciprocity. When we feel deeply fulfilled, we naturally want to give back. For women, this often plays out in the bedroom. If she feels cherished through oral sex, she is far more likely to reciprocate with greater affection, adventure, and generosity. This isn't just a sexual cycle, it's a relationship loop. When a man invests in her emotional and physical pleasure, he often receives more in return, more respect, more passion, more commitment. But here's the kicker. This loop only works when the man's motives are genuine. If he treats oral sex like a transaction, doing it only to get something in return, the psychological impact collapses. She feels it instantly because women are biologically wired with higher sensitivity to intention. The imprint effect. Why she remembers. Have you ever wondered why some women can't forget certain lovers? Even after years? It's not always about size, performance, or looks. Often, it's about how he made her feel. When a man gives her pleasure in a way that makes her feel seen, valued, and worshipped, the memory imprints in her subconscious. Scientists call this affective memory. It's the type of memory tied to emotions rather than just facts. She may forget dates, places, or details, but she will never forget how you made her feel in her most vulnerable moments. And oral sex, when done with care, creates some of the deepest affective memories possible. But here's the dangerous twist. That same imprint can work against a man if done without care, presence, or respect. Instead of intimacy, she may remember shame, awkwardness, or neglect, and those memories can haunt her long after the relationship ends. The hidden red flag. Most men ignore. Here's where things get truly surprising. If a woman refuses oral sex altogether, or consistently avoids giving or receiving it, it may reveal something deeper than just preference. In psychology, this can sometimes signal body shame. She doesn't feel comfortable being seen or touched intimately. Trust issues. She doesn't feel safe enough to be fully vulnerable. Control struggles. She fears surrendering power. Past trauma. Painful experiences may have left scars she hasn't healed. For a man who seeks a long-term, fulfilling relationship, this is a red flag worth paying attention to. Because how a woman handles intimacy often mirrors how she handles emotional vulnerability in other areas of life.